So for your rotations practice, you're going to be using the rules. So you want to remember, if I go to this slide so you can see example. All right, so going clockwise or counterclockwise is important for your rules. So if I take a look at my clockwise rules, I have clockwise 90, 180, 270, and 360 gives you the same thing. So remember, your rule always starts with original XY. So when I go clockwise 90, my X and Y are going to change positions, and my, oh, did I change? Yes. And my X will become the opposite of what it was. Okay? So then when I go clockwise 180, my X and Y are going to stay in the same spots. Now they're going to change to the opposites. For clockwise 270, my X and Y are going to change positions, but this time my Y value is going to become the opposite. And of course 360, which is a complete circle all the way back around, it's going to just stay as XY. Now if you remember from the notes, there were counterclockwise rotations that had the same rule as some clockwise. So this is a little chart that I always like to have my students write down. So a counterclockwise 270 is the same as a clockwise 90. Counterclockwise 180 and counterclockwise 90. And of course 360 is the same thing. Okay, so this little cheat sheet here, if you can remember this or jot it down somewhere, you can have 2-in-1 little chart. So when I do my homework here, it says my pre-image was 2, -3, and I'm going to do a clockwise 90. So it says this is my rule for that. I'm going to switch my values around. So switch them around. The X is going to become the opposite. So the X was a 2, and now it's going to become the opposite. So those would be my new coordinates. So if I do the B coordinate of 4, 0, I'm going to switch my coordinates around, and my X, which was 4, is going to become the opposite. So here's my 4, it's going to become a -4. My last one for the clockwise 90, I'm going to switch my coordinates around, and then I'm going to take whatever the X coordinate was, which is here, and make it the opposite. So that one should really become a positive one. All right, so let's take a look at another one. Let's say we do the clockwise 180 for just the first one. Okay, so I use my original coordinates. It says over here for clockwise 180, my X and Y stay in the same position, they just become the opposites. So if my X was a 2, it's going to become a -2. My original Y was a -3, so it's going to become a +3. Okay? All right, so continuing on to the next one. The next one, clockwise 270 for that same point. Clockwise 270 is my rule here. The X and Y's are going to switch around, but this time the Y will become the opposite. So I'm going to switch my values around, and I'm going to, whatever the Y coordinate was, that's the one that's going to become the opposite. So now it's going to become a +3. There's my rotation. And of course the last one, 360, is just going to stay the same. All right, well, that's a little bit of that first slide for the homework. Now remember, don't forget to write that little chart down. And so then you'll use that same little chart to complete these. Now on these ones, make sure you pay attention to what it says you're doing. For example, this is a counterclockwise. These are counterclockwise. This is counterclockwise also. And then these ones are clockwise. Okay? So make sure you follow the rules using that chart over here for your rotations.